Welcome to our discussion on amortization. Let's start as always with some basics, right? Present value of an annuity. So for this example, suppose you can afford to put $275 per month away for an automobile. Now, one possibility is to just put that $275 per month into a bank account until you have enough money to buy a car. However, a better way is to, get something that's going to give you more interest than just a regular bank account. To find the future value of this monthly payment, you'll need to know the interest rate. In this case, let's say 5.2%, the length of the time you're going to make these deposits, let's say 48 months or 4 years. And then you need to use the future value for the account you're going to do. In this case, an annuity. Now, we've seen this before in our annuity videos, so you know where this formula comes from. You plug everything in, and you see that if you do this, you'll have $14,638.04. Now, if you just took $275 a month for 4 years, for 48 months, that would just be $13,200. So as you can see from the math, if you do the difference between the two, you're basically making about $1,400 in interest, which isn't too shabby. Now, it's more common to purchase a car and agree to make monthly payments to pay for it. Given the annuity calculation that we did before, we know that we can kind of plan on looking for a car that costs around $14,638, right around 14 and a half, that kind of thing. Is that true? Well, not really, because if we borrow, we need to pay interest charges rather than receive interest charges, so the money's kind of going in the opposite direction. So when we have to borrow money and we think about present value and for future value, instead of doing annuities, we're doing it for, more like a lending situation. So we can now derive a formula for the present value of annuity from before. Same thing we've done. We've seen this simple calculations. Again, if you don't care how these things are derived, just kind of blur your eyes and just move on. But basically, here's the present value of an annuity. Now let's take this a step further and apply it to our first example. You figure out your budget. You decide you can afford $250 a month for a car. You want to figure out what's the maximum loan you can afford if the interest rate is 13% and you plan to repay it in 4 years. So here's the present value formula. Plug in everything you know, right? M is your monthly payment of $250, 13, right? 0.13 is your interest rate, T is 4, N is 12 because you're making monthly payments. Plug that all in, and you can see 9,318 and 80 cents basically. So to keep the payments at $250 or less, that's how much you can afford. How about if we want to figure out monthly payments? So paying something off systematically is called amortization. It's a fancy word for saying making payments on something. And we can kind of figure that formula out from the annuities formula, again, by solving for things and moving some stuff around, and we get the amortization formula. P is your present value or loan amount, right? M is your monthly payment, and then the R and the N and the T are what they always are. So here's an example for that. Let's say in 2016, the average price of a new home was $291,000. The interest rate was 6%. If this amount is financed for 30 years at 6% interest, what is the monthly payment? Simple enough. Plug everything in, right? $291,000 for your P. You've got your R of 0.06. You've got your N of 12. You've got your T of 30 because you're doing it for 30 years. Plug all that stuff in. Hopefully you have a good calculator because these things are not easy to do without a good calculator. And you see your monthly payment is almost $17.45. So if you need to pay off that loan, that's how much you pay. We should take note, though, that even though both the amortization and the add-on interest calculate the monthly or periodic payment, you should pay attention to which procedure or formula to use. So there's kind of some simple differences between the, and it's all about looking for keywords, right? So if you're faced with a question, a problem, whatever, situation, a test question, homework question, whatever, and it's using add-on interest somewhere, right? It says add-on interest somewhere. Then you want to use simple interest formula. However, if you see things talking about compound interest, loans are amortized, things like that, then you want to use the amortized formula. So it's all about kind of keywords. And between the two, obviously the amortization formula is the more common one because most things, most loans are paid back in an amortized way. All right, that's it for amortization.